Hello, I hope you can see everything all right. This is going to be a little talk about some of the amazing designs and industrial engineering I found in the pages of this book, which is, if you can read it, The Engineer, Highlights of 120 Years. I think the Engineer is the trade paper of the engineering industry. And they published this way back when, let's see if there's a date. Yeah. Let's see if there's a date coming up to, 1978. Published this in 1978. So, I'm fascinated by some of the inventions and alternative realities that are explored in steampunk, which is a form of SF, science fiction, where people speculate upon what things would have been like if the Victorians had possessed things like spacecraft and time travel, and in the Difference Engine, one of the first novels by Bruce Sterling and the fellow who invented cyberpunk, computers are by steam driven. Now, I picked this up in the bookshop in Cheltenham a little while ago, and I find it absolutely fascinating because it gives you the designs for some of the revolutionary engineering that took place in the 19th century. And some of it, I have to say, it's not very interesting. Not unless you're really, really interested in old steam engines and stuff like that. But this is a fairly typical example of the kind of technology it explores. But you go on and you get into some of the unusual designs that the Victorians were into and produced. And one of these, going through here, as was patent mechanical coal getter of 1897. Locomotive for underground haulage of 1892. Fascinating. That was a literal underground railway that you were going to put into your mind. A locomotive built for Levant Mines was the first to work underground in Cornwall. And then, as we go on, you get on to other radical designs, like, let's see, yes, this. I don't know if you can see it right at the top of the page. It is McSweeney's patent jointed ship of 1856. So you can see, I hope you can see it. It's obviously a paddle steamer, and it's got joints about a third of the way and then 2/3 along its length, presumably so it could turn or something. Very odd, very odd. But this is the kind of thing the Victorians were designing. And then on page, further on, oh yes, here you see, these are the designs for the Great Tower of London. Over here, our engineers had seen the Eiffel Tower and thought, anything those Frenchies can do, we can do better. And so they came up with these radical designs. Now, Moving on. Yeah, and that wasn't the only one, and that wasn't the only radical engineering design. Going on. There. Can you see it at the bottom of the page? That's a design for a channel bridge. Yeah. Forget the Channel Tunnel. The Victorians were going to build a bridge across it, which is highly ambitious, but this was the age of improvement. And yeah, some people's optimism in the growth of science knew no bounds. Going on. Right. Going a bit further. Yeah. Steam tractors. But there. This is the one I'm particularly interested in. It's a tractor, steam tractor, yeah, with caterpillar tracks. So before they fitted them onto tanks, people were looking at them and thinking, yeah, we need some of those for going across fields and pulling things. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's 1898, so yeah, long before the tank. And then, somewhere along here, yeah, that's it. I hope you can see that as well. That is a petrol caterpillar tractor and a train, putting various carts, of 1916. So, same time as the tanks, and that's it. Yeah, the same technology being applied to agriculture. Now, what else going on? Yep, more tractors. Yeah, well, you then get these. This on the top of the page is a design for a floating lighthouse. Yeah. Mad designs, but visionary thinking, innovative thinking, and in some ways that's a good thing because it stops science and engineering stagnating. It means people are willing to explore new ideas, even if some of them are very odd. And at the bottom of the page you have the combined overhead railway and rainwater collector of 1858. So, now, going on, page 113, if I can just go a bit further here. Yeah, wait a minute. There. See all kinds of steam engines, huge guns. There. That is the Nordenfeldt submarine and Jacques detachable ram. Yes, there's the ram, I think, up there. And you put that onto your boat and. Yeah, is it? No, I think that's the. Yeah. Yeah, it's a high. Yeah. It's a subaquatic projectile. So there, it was a ram, but you could also use it as a torpedo. Yep. And then going on further. A bit further. Over here, this is a disappearing turret. Yeah, you had this gun emplacement, and yeah, it rose above the ground when it was needed, and when it had to take shelter from the enemy fire, it disappeared again. Let's just start going on. a pneumatic gun. There, that is the pneumatic dynamite seacoast gun at Milford Haven of 1892. So it's not just old gunpowder and similar chemicals. And then you get to various very odd forms of bicycle. Let's try. Yeah. Going over to this one. That one's appeared a lot, and it's Richard Hemmings of Connecticut invented this philosophies. His 13-year-old son in 1869 could, he said, propel a 5-foot machine of similar design at a good pace. And then down at the bottom, yes, you have this kind of a tandem machine for couples who like to ride side by side. So yeah, and then on the other side of the page, a traction engine in an omnibus. So before they had any kind of vehicles, really, automobiles, really, there were omnibuses being drawn by horses, pretty much like those. And of course, what they've done is someone has thought, well, why do we use horses when we could use a traction engine? And that's what they've done. Now, the Victorians were also active trying to produce something like our modern cars, but propelled instead of petrol, but by steam. Here's one. That is the one-horse road steamer to carry 2 persons of 1869. On the opposite page, we have Goodman's velocipede of 1869 was a steam-driven and could reach speeds up to 12 miles an hour. Very, very fast then. And then the Liquid Fuel Company's steam van of 1895 was the most interesting vehicle in the engineers' road carriage competition. And if you can just about make that out, it looks very, very modern indeed. Now, let's go on. There you go. One of the first traffic lights. Traffic signals, Bridge Street, Westminster of 1868. The first road traffic signals appeared at the junction of Parliament Street with George Street and Bridge Street, Westminster in December 1868. The new system designs practically to supply substitutes for the policeman's arm, we are told. A major advantage of the signals was that, being 18 foot high, they could be seen by drivers some distance from the junction. Original inspiration for the signal came from Mr. Knight, Superintendent of the South Eastern Railway, testifying before a House of Commons Select Committee in 1866. This particular design, in which the signals are operated by a policeman through a lever, was sanctioned jointly by the Home Office and the Metropolitan Police. So there you go. People were waiting at the traffic lights, getting angry and annoyed even back then. Now, and we can go on. And let's have a look at another steam carriage. Just a moment. Yeah. 19th century bursting with invention. And there. This is it. That is the Serpollet. That's the Serpollet steam phaeton of 1891. Again, there's very detailed layout of the actual engineering involved. And it shows, you that, the Victorians, not just interested in engineering, but also style. And obviously, if you had your steam phaeton, you had a lot of style, as well as, I would imagine, a healthy bank account. Now, turn the next page, and there you go. More steam vehicles. And the top one is the Duncan and Super Bee motorcycle of 1894. Actually, I would imagine that was petrol. And then the Panhard and Levison two-seater, also of 1894. And at the bottom of the page, the three-wheeled patent steam omnibus of 1870. I mean, yeah, amazing. I mean, I think it's absolutely amazing that people were building such vehicles just then. There you go. I mean, they tried with proper bus commuter service, commuting between Edinburgh and somewhere else, I believe, in the 1830s. And there was nothing wrong with the steam vehicle itself, but it took trade away from the traditional cab drivers and busmen. So they got together to have it banned. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why that didn't take vehicles like that didn't take off an awful lot earlier. Now, let's go on a bit further and explore the world of flying machines. And yeah, there you see bits of boat and stuff. Yeah. Let's have a look. This should be the flying machines. There you go. These are some of the early ideas they had for flight. There was one where I think they came down through a series of wire and flew. Yeah, this is Collingford's aerial chariot of 1854, which was launched from a 6 to 9 foot pole by a falling weight like the Wright brothers' early airplanes. The pilot turned the aerial screw by hand. And then, that's a picture of an aerial balloon experiment of 1824. That is the Maxim flying machine of 1894. And let's see. Yes. Of 1894. And that's design of aircraft supported by revolving discs began appearing in 1916. So I think we can sort of say that's an early ancestor of the helicopter. And then over the page, the layout of a Zeppelin. And if we go a little further to page 181, we get the design of, yes, the gasworks. Necessary, not terribly exciting, but nevertheless necessary. And if I lift this up a bit, there. And that's just, some of the, remarkable ideas that the Victorians were producing, and which I think make steampunk and the steampunk theme so interesting, because steampunk is so much like what was actually going on in real Victorian engineering. Anyway, hope you found this interesting. Thanks for watching.